Hey there everyone, my name is Haley and welcome back to Oracle SMP. So you may notice that things look a little bit different from the last time I had an Oracle episode, and that is because this is a completely different world than the one we were previously in. Basically, there was some sort of issue with the server, and I think something along the lines of the world backed up over itself and everyone's progress was lost. So the world had to be reset, and we have a completely different seed. So that's why this whole island looks a lot different than what it was before. But there's nothing that we can do about that. I am still very, very dedicated to this server, and I'm very excited to continue playing on it. And we're going to continue with the same plan and theme that we were doing before, which is to do a little amusement park on this mushroom island. So in case you missed the first episode of Oracle, there's really no need to go back and watch it because none of the stuff you see in it will still be in this world. But let me give you a little bit of a recap of what's been going on. So like I said, our plan for this season of Oracle is to do an amusement park that's also going to double as my base. So let me kind of show you around here to the things that I have started doing so far. So I have made an enchantment station that goes up to level 30. And I've made a couple of good tools here. So I've got my sword that has sharpness 3, knockback 2, unbreaking 3. Not the best, but it's definitely something to start out with. We've got an efficiency 4, unbreaking 3, fortune 2 pickaxe. Again, not the best. And then we have an efficiency 4 silk touch shovel. So that's going to be especially useful for collecting things like grass to convert this nasty purple mycelium into some beautiful green grass. And also, it makes me not have to pick up a whole bunch of flint when I'm getting gravel, which is very useful for when we do all the concrete we're going to need for our big white concrete castle. So, let's see. I've also been mining quite a bit. I had to dig out my nether tunnel, which is why there's so much netherrack in here. Been collecting sand and gravel because I know we're going to need that, as well as a whole bunch of flowers for different colors of dye. Also, these little bunny ears were an Easter gift, or went along with an Easter gift from Antoine, and he originally built them in my nether tunnel, but I really liked them, so I moved them to my island. The reason that he built them in my nether tunnel instead of just coming here himself is my island is about 8,000 blocks away from spawn. So, unfortunately, it takes like 5 minutes to run through the nether. So I'm very excited to make a nether tunnel, but that is not what we will be doing today. Today I actually want to show you the mob grinder that I made, and I originally planned to put this in the episode itself instead of just telling you about it later, but unfortunately there were some audio issues with the clips that I filmed, and things just really weren't going according to plan. So I'm just going to show you the completed result instead of having you watch my frustration and anger. So my plan for this was to make it an XP farm so that I could get some levels and be able to enchant some more stuff. But it just wasn't working out that way. Everything I tried to make it an XP farm wasn't working. If you're gonna do an XP farm like this, it really has to be like up in the air, and I really didn't want to do that because I want my island to look pretty. So if I just make my way down this really awful, crappy staircase here, I can kind of punch a hole in this wall and show you what this is. So it's very dark in here, and I apologize, but the basic gist of this, I can put a couple torches down so you can get a little more light, is that there are, I think, 9 platforms in total, and when I flip a switch that is actually downstairs, all of the water will get sucked back up into the dispensers, which means stuff can spawn on these platforms, and then as soon as I turn the water back on, it gets pushed off down to the bottom and then dies on the magma blocks down there. So I can go ahead and show you what the system is down there that I have. Actually, I think this is the wrong staircase. There's so many like little staircases and nooks and crannies and stuff that I've made just from trying out different things. I really need to make this area look a lot nicer because right now it's just this terrible, terrible area. But what we have here is a hopper minecart that runs along these tracks. Anytime something drops onto the magma blocks, the hopper picks it up, and we get this good loot here. And especially what is needed is the bones because we need a lot of white concrete. So that's definitely a big plus that we're getting some bones and stuff. And this is the lever that I was talking about. As soon as I push this, I get a lag spike, and then all of the water gets absorbed back in. And then I flip this again, and anything that spawned on the platforms will get pushed off by the water. So it's a pretty good system, and I actually based it off of one that Iskall85 did in the most recent Hermitcraft season, season 5. But his was actually a creeper farm mostly, or it was a creeper and spider farm, I believe, whereas mine is just a straight creeper, it's an everything farm, actually. So that's a little different, but it works the same way. So this here is a map of our entire island, except for like a few blocks on the very edge there. And this is actually pretty cool because unlike the other one, this one is actually an island, so I don't have to worry about an entrance or anything off of any other point of land. I haven't exactly planned out where everything is going to go yet, but this island is quite a bit smaller than the one I was on before, so I do have to modify my plans a little bit, but we are still building the big princess castle, and I think we're going to do it right over where this big kind of square-ish ocean area is, right in here. So I've started kind of planning some of the area out just a bit, which I haven't updated the map to show it, but it is over there. You probably saw it as I was walking to the mob spawner. But I decided to do it there because then we can have that mob farm right underneath our castle, and I think it'll just be a really handy thing to have there. And also, we're going to have the castle as kind of the main like storage area for all of the different farms and things that will be going on elsewhere along the island. But those like farms and things are going to be hidden behind or underneath or kind of under the surface of an amusement park. So there's going to be like games and rides and different things scattered around here. And then behind the scenes is going to be all of the farms and different things that we need to have on the island. And I also know that there is, I think, one or two different guardian temples really close by to the island, so we can definitely do something with those, or at least one of them as well. But we're not going to do that quite yet because we don't want to generate too much of the ocean terrain, because that oceanic update or the aquatic update, whatever it's called, is coming out very soon. We want to save as much of the terrain generating for when that comes out. So the first thing that I think I want to do on this island is just kind of clean it up a little bit because there's a lot of like random like cliff sides that are kind of ugly, and all these mushrooms are really in the way, and I really just want to kind of smooth everything out and get a good sense of what we can really do here, because right now it's very hard to visualize where I want things to go because the shape of this island is a little strange. Like there's a lot of little pieces that kind of jut out in different areas, and not a whole lot of room to play with. So we're definitely going to have to be very creative when it comes to fitting everything that we want to do in this island. But I think the first step is to clean everything up, so that we have a nice fresh base to start out with. So I think I'm going to work on that, and I'm actually going to hop in to the server on a spectator account so you guys can watch me do this in a third person time lapse, because I think that would look really cool just watching me go through and tear everything down. So I will see you once we are finished with that. Alright guys, I am back, and unfortunately I had to cut my terraforming short a little bit because my tools were about to break, and I did repair them once, but I don't want to have to keep repairing them because it costs diamonds and levels, and I just really want to solve that issue, and the best way I can think of doing that right now is by making an AFK fishing farm so that we can possibly get some mending books. So that is what we're going to work on next. So I'm just going to put this right in this area, and the reason I'm doing that is so that my mob farm will be working at the same time, so I can kind of multitask a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and build this AFK fishing farm, and I will be back once it is completed. Alright, this AFK fishing farm is now fully completed. I figured you've probably all seen someone build an AFK fish farm before, so I didn't really need to show it on camera. But this is a really simple design that I think I came up with. It's probably very similar to other ones, but really the only redstone it uses is one piece of redstone and one piston, or one sticky piston, sorry. And then the trapwire hooks. So it's very resource friendly and it does work in multiplayer servers. Oh, I totally forgot. I have to leave a block open for skylight access. But now if I aim correctly, there we go, at this note block in the back there, it should, oh gosh, I should be able to catch some fish and stuff. But before I try going AFK over here, there is one more thing that I want to do, which is to, I would like to make my mob farm completely automatic, because the way it is right now, I have to flip a lever every time I want all of the mobs to fall. I want to set up some sort of like redstone clock that will just do that for me, so I don't have to really worry about it too much. And as you can see, I've already caught a couple fish, so this thing definitely is working. But I'm going to grab some more redstone supplies and do a quick YouTube search for some sort of redstone clock contraption that I could copy, because I am so bad at coming up with redstone myself. So I'm gonna do that, and I will be back once we're ready to go on that little project. So here we are at the top of the mob spawner. If I turn this lever, you'll see that I get a lag spike, and that means the water has dispensed, which should mean all of the mobs are being pushed off. But I really want this to be like a, I don't know, more automatic, I think. And let me just double check. Yep, the water is flowing. So, let's see. I'm gonna make, it's like a hopper clock that can, I guess, turn itself on and off every like minute or so, and that should be enough time for the mobs to be spawned and then flushed down. So I think I do something like this. Let me put the hopper there, put the second hopper facing into it, and then I think there's comparators coming out from both sides, and then let's see, blocks going on either side of the comparator. Need some redstone torches. Let's see. I will link the video that I've found this from down below. It is by PixelDude360. So I'll put that down in the description if anybody wants it. There's a lever right here, which I will just leave up for now. And then on top of these blocks, there is redstone. And then just, I think, just normal, or just either sticky pistons or normal pistons. I don't know. Hopefully it will work for either one. And then a redstone block on the piston, which will then lock this hopper. So I'm gonna put in, I think, 2 stacks of cobblestone, and then that way, so let me over here. I think the way this works is, I think this will allow me to turn this thing off or on or something, and so once all of the items, oh gosh, I don't think that is right. Okay, I think I figured it out. I just had the input or the output going from the wrong area. So every time the other hopper like gets through all of its items, so as we see this countdown here, these pistons move this redstone block, which then turns on the signal, which will dispense the water, and then it will turn itself off when the piston moves back. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in, I think, here, let me take everything out real quick so that I can, okay, there we go. So I want to put in, I think, 2 stacks, and we'll see how long that takes. So right now the water should be dispensed, and then it will eventually put the water back away in the dispenser, which will then allow things to spawn. So we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna go down and check and see how much stuff, ooh, this is not, yeah, this is right. Check how much, no, it's not. Wait, hold on, where am I going? I'm gonna go check and, I guess, empty out what's down there right now, so that in a little while we can come back and check on the progress. and see how much stuff this has gotten with this new clock system. Okay, I have completely emptied out everything that is in this chest. I'm also going to turn this lever off. It's not connected anymore, but just so that I don't get confused, that's going to be off. And then as soon as I head back up, or actually in just a quick second, this thing should be dispensing the water again, and we can see if anything actually spawned in that amount of time. If not, we can always add some more stacks of cobblestone. I have plenty of them in these chests down here. Okay guys, so I wanted to do like a half an hour, but it really ended up only being like 15 or 20 minutes because the fishing rod broke. But let's go ahead and check what we have gotten anyway. So, ooh, we did get some pretty decent fishing rods. We could combine those two and get pretty much the best fishing rod we could get. That is also a pretty good bow, and we got some fish, which will make a good food source. So all in all, that's a pretty good gathering of items for having just a basic crappy fishing rod. But what I'm really interested in right now is seeing how this new redstone clock system worked, and seeing if we have any good mob drops. So let's go on and check that. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, well, that's actually quite a bit for only being there for like 15-20 minutes. Probably if we had done like a full hour, we would have gotten at least a stack or more of all of these. So I am definitely happy with that, especially because this whole project took me a long time to finally finish. Even though I did it off camera and you guys didn't really see any of it. It was a very frustrating thing to work on, so I'm very glad that it actually worked out. I'm going to go ahead and dump all of this stuff in my chests up on the surface, and then we will move on to our next order of business. Alright, let's see if we can combine these fishing rods to get what we want. So that would cost 24 levels. That costs even more. So let's go back to the first one. And there we go. We now have the best fishing rod in the game. And I also want to repair this bow with my old bow because it is actually a pretty good bow for just fishing it up out of the water. So I am very happy with that. I'm going to grab some arrows just so that I have them on me. And I think the next thing I want to do is kind of go over my plans for where the castle is going to be, since right now we can't do a whole lot of digging of land and everything, but we could do some placing of land. So I'm going to grab all of my dirt that I have, and we're gonna head over to where I've started planning out the castle. So, this area, what I have planned for it is to do kind of like a mountain. Like I'm gonna bring up the sides and like all the way around, and make it a big mountain that the castle will be sitting on top of and like kind of coming out of a little bit. Instead of just having it flat and having to fill in all this water and everything. So that is the game plan as of right now. Other than that, there's not a whole lot that I have planned other than just building the castle itself. But I think it could be a good idea to start kind of figuring out how high I want the mountain to go before you see the castle start to come up out of it, because there is going to be like a castle foundation before the actual castle starts itself. So I don't know if I want, I also don't know how far I'm going to dig this stuff down to, because we need lots of nice flat spaces for things like rides and games and stuff to go. So I'm thinking if we dig this down to about this level right here, that would be good, and we can kind of fill in some of the land right around like in this area to make it more flat. And then, so let's see, that'd be 1, 2, 3. So this is where the ground would be, and then we could have the mountains start going up that way, and maybe about there-ish is where I would want the castle to start coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing some blocks and seeing what I come up with. And this is probably going to be very much a trial and error type thing, so bear with me. It's not going to be very pretty at first, but we'll get there eventually. Alright guys, so here's just a little progress update of what I've been doing. So as you can see, I've planned things a little bit, not a whole lot, just kind of the perimeter of where I want the mountain to start going up. And then outside of this, it's going to be mostly, I think, on this level. The ground is going to be like at this level. There might be some like variation, like maybe in this area, since it does kind of go lower. And I also went around, and wherever this like squiggly kind of line is, this is where the actual mushroom biome ends. So anywhere from this line inward towards the island, things will not spawn, and that is very helpful information to know, because we've got an entire like 5-6 blocks like diameter, I guess, across this area that we can play with and build on, and same thing like right over there. And so once I had done this, I kind of feel like I was originally gonna like connect all this land and kind of just make it all one big thing, and yeah, that would give us a lot of land, but it would not be mushroom biome, so things would be able to spawn there. The grass, if we choose to do grass, is going to look like an ugly and green, nasty color. So I'm kind of thinking now that maybe we're going to have, I maybe like continue this as being part of the mountain on like both sides a little bit, and kind of have it go up, and maybe have some sort of like back entrance to the tunnel or something that you can access by water, like through a boat or something. That could be kind of cool to have a little boat dock or something in the back there of the castle. But other than that, I think I want where this dirt pillar is, like right up there, that's where I want the castle to really start, aside from like the foundation. So like I'll have the mountain go in and kind of plateau right along there, and that is where the castle part will happen, so like the white concrete part. And then we're gonna have like a stone and stone brick like castle foundation that will be underneath that, and wherever like the mountain doesn't cover it up, basically. Something along those lines. So I think this is a good start on the planning process, and probably next episode we will get to actually building the castle a little bit. But for the last little bit in this episode, I did end up repairing my Silk Touch shovel, so we can go ahead and continue to mine out and kind of fix up some of the land around here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to end the episode, go back to the time lapse, but I also did want to just update you guys that I did do a little more AFK fishing. We got a couple of really good enchanted books. I like this Sharpness 4 for sure, that'll definitely help my sword, and we got another really good bow that I combined with this one, and we have is like a super bow now, which is awesome. So that's just a little bit of a update on that situation, and I'm going to keep doing my AFK fishing while I'm like editing videos and doing other stuff, so that I will constantly be getting that like income of stuff. But to finish off this video, we're going to go ahead and finish fixing up this little area of land that I had started working on earlier. And next episode, I'm very excited to actually get started working on the castle a little bit. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I definitely think this looks a lot better than what it was, if you can ignore the dusty, nasty purple mycelium. Um, but it definitely makes me have a lot more of a clear vision of what this place really could be, because now it's like there's a lot more space down here where people could put games or rides or whatever you want to put here. So, yeah, I think this was definitely a good thing to do. It's got me really inspired to keep going for this season. So, with that being said, I hope you are all excited to watch the building of the castle next episode, because I'm very excited to get started on that. But that is going to do it for today's episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you next time.